Have you ever really thought about how the trillions of cells in your body actually stay alive? I mean, each one is like its own tiny, bustling city, constantly importing supplies and exporting waste. So how do they control all that traffic? Today, we're going to crack the code on cellular transport.
So, how does a cell pull this off? How does it act as both a gateway and a guard? It has to let in all the good stuff, like nutrients, and kick out the bad stuff, the waste products, all while keeping its internal world perfectly balanced. It's a huge, huge challenge.
You see, the cell's first line of defense is this thing called the lipid bilayer. Think of it as an oily film that's fantastic at keeping things out. But here's the catch. It's a little too good at its job. It blocks even the things the cell needs to survive, like sugars and charged ions. To solve this, cells have developed some truly ingenious systems.
Okay, so the simplest strategy is called passive transport. This is the easy downhill route. It's the path of least resistance, and it requires absolutely zero energy from the cell. This slide really gets to the heart of it all. With passive transport, molecules are just going with the flow. They move from an area of high concentration to low concentration, kind of like a ball rolling downhill. No energy needed. Active transport, though, that's a whole different story. It's an uphill battle, literally pushing molecules against their natural flow, and that takes a ton of energy.
Now, passive transport comes in a few different flavors. You've got simple diffusion, where small molecules like oxygen can just slip right through the membrane, no problem. Then there's facilitated diffusion, where bigger molecules like glucose need a little help from special protein doorways. And when we're talking specifically about water moving across a membrane, that gets its own special name, osmosis.
And I love this analogy because it perfectly explains the two types of helpers in facilitated diffusion. You have channel proteins, which are basically open doors. If you're the right size and charge, you can just cruise on through. But carrier proteins are more like turnstiles. They grab a specific molecule, change their shape, and then release it on the other side, one by one.
Okay, but what happens when a cell needs to move something against the current? That's where active transport comes in. This is the cell's heavy-duty, powered machinery for fighting those uphill battles.
And the undisputed heavyweight champion of active transport is the sodium-potassium pump. This little protein engine is a workhorse, and it's running tirelessly in nearly every single one of your animal cells right now.
So, how does this engine actually work? Well, in a nutshell, it uses energy from a molecule called ATP. For every cycle, it constantly pumps 3 sodium ions out of the cell for every 2 potassium ions it brings in. This isn't just a simple swap, it's creating a powerful electrical and chemical gradient across the membrane.
And get this, the energy cost is staggering. This one type of pump can burn through more than 30% of a typical animal cell's entire energy budget. 30%, just for this one job.
So, why spend all that energy? Because that ion gradient is like a charged battery for the cell. It's the power source that lets your nerves fire signals and your muscles contract. Seriously, without it, you wouldn't be able to think, to move, or even have a heartbeat. It's that important.
Now, pumps and channels are great for the small stuff, for ions and small molecules. But what happens when a cell needs to move something really big, like a hormone, or even swallow a whole bacterium? For that, it needs to call in the heavy movers, bulk transport.
And this works in 2 opposite ways. To bring a large package in, the cell membrane literally wraps around it and engulfs it. This process is called endocytosis, and it forms a little bubble inside the cell. To ship big stuff out, a bubble or vesicle from inside fuses with the membrane and just dumps its contents outside. That's exocytosis.
So when you put it all together, the cell has this incredible and versatile toolkit for managing everything that crosses its border. Let's do a quick final roll call of all the pathways we've seen.
You've got simple diffusion for the tiny things that can sneak through on their own. You have channel and carrier proteins that provide assisted passage. Then you've got the energy-guzzling pumps for those uphill battles. And finally, for the really heavy cargo, you have the bulk transport systems of endocytosis and exocytosis. These 6 pathways are the cell's complete logistics network.
You know, when you take a step back and look at this whole system, it leaves you with a really fascinating question. A cell's border isn't just a wall. It's this incredibly complex, dynamic, intelligent system that's absolutely essential for life. So if even the simplest forms of life require this much complexity just to exist, what does that tell us about how life even got started in the first place?
And that is cellular transport decoded. If you're hungry for more bioinformatics, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Next time, we're diving into the epic showdown of mitosis versus meiosis. I'll see you then on Bioinformatics.